Okay, so we are through. Okay, so now we'll come to. Okay, so anyone has put in the chat? Let me see. Yes, good evening, Hare Krishna. Can you put your what are the reasons Arjuna was not wanting to fight? Okay, so today is the chapter 2, summary of Gita Saramsha. Okay, so let us pay obeisances to Sri Radha Radha Govinda. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Nanakashalakaya Chakshumitamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitamena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandehaham Sri Guru Sri Yutapada Kamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavscha Sri Rupam Sagarajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Anvitam Samsajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakana Vittamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dino Bando Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasa Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay. So what were the reasons which Arjuna said he is not going to fight? Okay. Anybody remembered? So there were 5 reasons. Yes. What were they? He was reluctant to fight, as everyone was. Someone who knew or a family member. He felt wrong to kill his own Krishna. Yeah, it made him realize that all these thoughts were only metaphysical. It was compassion, sin. Then what were the other things? So compassion, he was compassionate. So he was not able to, because he was going to, and there's no enjoyment, because if his relatives are not there and his friends are there, then what's the point in getting any kingdom and all that? So that was there's no enjoyment in this, and it is sin, and family traditions would be lost, and he was indecision. So these were the things which he had, which he gave to Krishna for not wanting to fight. Actually, there are, I mean, when you want to, this is not something new. There were other instances also in the history where there have been dilemmas when they have to fight with have a conflict with their own family members or with this. So just like Prahlad Maharaj, he was a father and a son, because the father was not a devotee, and he had the conflict. Prahlad had to face many things because of it, right? And also when you see in Ramayana, Vibhishana goes against Ravana because he didn't want to fight on the Ravana's side, because it was irreligious. Same way with Bali Maharaj, he goes against his guru Shukracharya, even though he knew that that was the Lord who has come as Vamana. Okay, so there are many instances where these such conflicts have come, and they have done it for Krishna. Okay, so now in this chapter, now Krishna is giving solution to the Arjuna's objections. All the objections, as there 5 objections. So here he gives it, and these are the verses in which all the answers are there. That is, we are not the body, heaven or kingdom, devotional activity. And it's all given. How he gives is, like, he first for the compassion, he gives a jnana, he gives a spiritual knowledge. He says, because it is something to do, dealing with the feeling, which something which is touching is your heart. Okay. And you know that, see, when there is a indecision, that finally, and for no enjoyment, you see from the karma kanda point of view, and for sinful reactions is buddhi yoga, which I'll be explaining to you all. and family traditions is Karma Yoga. So ultimately, what was that? Which he says the indecision, which is going to give in 2.6. This is where this is the turning point in Bhagavad Gita. Okay. So decision. So decision is something which every one of us have to deal with in our life, day to life. Every day you're making some decisions, small ones or the big ones or the major thing. Like small ones, like me, I have to cook. I want to know what is the subject I want to make and what is the thing, whether I have the ingredients and things like that. Small decisions are there. Every minute you're taking decisions. But there are certain major decisions also, like what is the which college I have to join, what is the course I want to take, and what job to make, and what additional courses I want to add. So there are major decisions as well as minor, but you are dealing with decisions all your life, right? And there are certain decisions which some people will take it in the mode of passion, right? They very impulsive, and they land up with consequences. Some people won't take any decision. They are they will say they are in the mode of tamas, they don't like to take it. They want some just float like that, irresponsible. But there are some who will evaluate pros and cons and everything and make a decision, but still it may not be complete. So here in this, finally, when Arjuna comes to indecision, he doesn't know whether it is to be conquered by the sons of the thing or to conquer them. So that is the turning point in Bhagavad Gita. So what does finally Arjuna say? Karpanya doshapata swabhava prachami tvam dharma samura chetaha yasreha syan nishchitam brohi tanme shishyaste ham sarshadi mam tvam prapana. So what does he say now? I am confused about my duty. He is now confused whether he is a Kshatriya, right? And he is really confused. And lost all composure because of weakness. Because now he became very compassionate and is very feeling for his guru and his family members and all that. In this condition, I'm asking you to tell me clearly what is best for me. See, that is what we have to see. See, it is not that it is best for everybody. He is asking what is best for me and what is my duty, because he has got confused. And now he is turning, he says, I'm your disciple. See, he has saying, Nishchitam Bruhutane. Nishchitam is tell me certainly what is good for me. Shishyaste ham sadhi ma tva prapana. That is, I am your disciple now, and the soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct prapana. So he is telling Krishna, now the role changes. Till now, they were like friends, Like Krishna was like a charioteer, and he tells Achyuta, please take me to the middle of the battlefield. I want to see who have come and all that. See, it was all friendly relationship which he had. But now the relations changes. Now he says, I am your disciple, I am your student. You please tell me what is best for me. And that's how he surrenders to Krishna. So this is how he has surrendered. And now what does Krishna say? Let us see. So, but one thing which I don't know whether you all noticed when this verses was being chanted here in Bhagavad Gita, whenever Lord Krishna speaks, they don't say Krishna Uvacha. Here, Vedas writes it as Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. So Bhagavan Uvacha is what is being addressed, never mentioned as. Otherwise, it is Arjuna Uvacha, Sanjay Uvacha, Dhritarashtra Uvacha. Okay, you can always look at it. So now, the last chapter, we introduced three personalities. Over there, Dhritarashtra, Duryodhana, and we saw Arjuna, right? We introduced. And now we have to see how we have to introduce Sri Bhagavan and Krishna. Okay. So how do we think? How do we see here? We are, as we travel, I mean, this is just an example. Like as we're traveling towards on a road, to far off, I see some clouds and things. Only when I go nearer and nearer, I see there's a mountain. And even still, when you go further near to the place, the mountain, then you see the trees. And as you go closer, you see there is some living and things there on the mountain, on the trees, and the parrot is there. So likewise, if you want to know about the Lord, there are some some who are very much, when they want to understand him, they start understanding him as the of his energy, of his controlling, of his powers. So that's what we say. It is a Brahman realization. That is, they see the powers of the Lord, and that is the first understanding one gets, right? And as they study more deeper and deeper, then they realize that he is a Paramatma who resides in each and every living entity. He is the one who is controlling us. Okay, that is the Paramatma realization. And even if you go deeper into it, then that's when we come to Bhagavan realization. That is, he is the person. So here in the purport, in the Bhagavad Gita, as it is, the Prabhupada has given us a nice analogy. He compares this to our understanding. Hare Krishna? May I know? I didn't hear you. Okay. I'm audible, isn't it? Can put me in the chat and let me see as in. Am I audible?
Yes, Mataji, you are audible.
Okay, thank you. So there's an analogy given by Prabhupada in the purport. He says, like, when you see the sunshine, first, and we think, oh yeah, I'm seeing the sunlight and there's energy, heat is there, light is there. That is the first thing which we'll learn about the sun. But as you look up and see, then you see on the sky, there's a big disk over there. Okay. That is the next thing. So then okay, that is the sun over there, which is a round like thing and this. And from there is where we are getting this light and the sunshine, and that's how we understand. But when you still go deeper study, what we see that actually it is not just a disk, it is a sun as a planet there, right? That's how. So this is how we realize the Lord. That is the three realization which has been explained here. That is Brahman realization, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. But how the Parashara Muni describes the Bhagavan as a person who has all these six opulences. That is full of knowledge and full of power, full of wealth, full of beauty, full of fame and austerity. See, some people in the world, they'll have knowledge, but they may not have wealth, or they may not have power. But some people have the beauty and all that, but they may not have the knowledge. So they cannot have all of that in full. They can have one or the other or two other. So, but the Bhagwan, the one who we describe him, he is the one who has got everything in full, all these six opulences in full. Okay, this is how it is been described, the thing, the Bhagwan. So, this is the introduction given on Bhagavan. So understanding these are the three aspects, the Brahman realization, Paramatma realization, and the Bhagavan, where we see only is energy. Paramatma is one who is there in every soul, every living entity who is controlled, and Bhagavan is complete, absolute truth. So now Krishna is giving his answers to solutions to the Arjuna's questions, right? So straight away, see the query which Arjuna asked was, how I can fight with the family compassion. He was very much. So that's a question. Answer to that, Krishna says, Dehino asmin yata dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tata dehantra prapti dhiras tatra na muhyati. So here he gives the knowledge. He's giving a spiritual. Straight away he gives that. He doesn't dilly-dally or think. He starts off saying, who are we? Okay, we are actually the soul and not the body. So here a relation between soul and body is saying, as the embodied soul continually passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. So self-realized person is not bewildered by such a change. What does he mean? That we are born. When we take a birth, we are just a baby. Okay. But as we grow, we become a small child, and from child we grow a bit older as a teenager, and then from teenager we become the man and the full thing, and then slowly the growth stops, and then it starts decaying, and then after that the body, then you meet your death. So the body which we had as a baby is not the same as we had as a teenager or when you're young as a boy. Okay, boyhood. Okay, you keep changing. The body is keep changing, but the soul remains the same. The person inside the thing remains the same, but only his body is keep changing. It takes a lot of transformations. And finally, when it dies, when it decays, then after death, it again transmigrates into another body. So self-realized person means the one who has understand this science, the spiritual science, will not be bewildered by such a change. So what Krishna says here, you're actually not killing your relatives. You cannot kill the soul, because the soul is just, the body is the only thing which is being killed in the battle, but the soul doesn't change. You cannot kill the soul, because the soul is Satchit Ananda. It is eternal and is full of knowledge and it is bliss. But what happens is, once you come into this material world, you forget that you are under the Maya, so Maya, illusion, energy. So you think you are the body, but actually you are not the body. In fact, we are the soul. So this is what he answers to the question. So can the soul be destroyed? So that is something which you can think about. Actually, it cannot be. We are a part and parcel of him. So Krishna says, you're not destroying this thing, because nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavaka, na chainam kledanti apu, na shoshati marutha. That is, the soul can never be cut into pieces by any weapon, nor can be burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind. So you cannot do anything to the soul. It is there, always eternal, but it's only the body which is being destroyed. Nothing else. Body goes back, and the soul will take another body, depending on his karma, right? So there's a transmigration for the soul. It keeps going. Actually, when a person dies, what do we say? We say the person passed away. Who passed away? Is there, the body is there, no, lying on the floor, on the bed, but the person, there's no consciousness, right? That means the person has passed away. That is, the soul has passed away, and that's what we say. So we are not the body, but we are the soul. So you are not killing anybody. You are only killing the body, and that is all. So that's what he says. So the people who are here, they will take another body. So why are you worried? You are not killed. So that is the first answer he gives to his compassion. Now comes to the no enjoyment. So there, hatva va prapshasi spargam, jitva va bokshasi mahim, tasmad uttishta kaunteya, yudaya krita nischay. Here what does he say? O son of Kunti, either you will be killed on the battlefield and attain the heavenly planets, or you will conquer and enjoy the earthly kingdom. Therefore, you get up and fight. Why are you hesitating? He says, see, he talks, there won't be any enjoyment and all that. So what is the enjoyment? Either you will be killed or you will win the war. So there's nothing like losing the situation. It's a win-win situation. You say, if you're killed in the battlefield because you're a Kshatriya and your duty is to fight for religious cause. So if you're killed on the battlefield, you surely go to the heavenly planets. There will be enjoyment. But if you conquer, then you will enjoy the earthly kingdom here. So why don't you fight with determination? That's what he says. This is your duty. You're a Kshatriya. So this is a win-win situation and there's nothing lost. So why are you hesitating? You just fight with determination. So it's your duty. So he's pointing out his duty as a Kshatriya. And then he also says, your enemies will describe you in many unkind words and scorn your ability with what would be more painful for you. Because if he doesn't fight and he just puts down his arms and weapons and all and try to go away from the battlefield, what will the enemies think? That he is a coward, that he doesn't want to fight. So they will really criticize him and give him some harsh words, which will be more painful. So he says, you just do your duty because this is a religious thing. And as a Kshatriya, it's your duty. So you fight. So that is for the answer for his no enjoyment. Then comes the sin. Okay. So here the Krishna says, Neha Vikram Nashoti Pratyavyavo na vidyate Swalpam api asya dharmasya trayate mahatu bhaya. So here he talks about Buddhi Yoga. What he means is, he says, you fight, you're doing this act for me. That means it is for a religious cause. You're not doing it for your sake. You're doing for the religious cause, because these aggressors are there. They are all have done sins, and they have done a lot of injustice. So they are on the adharma path. So you are fighting on a religious path. So you just fight. So here he gives an example of Hanuman. See, Hanuman was fighting for Lord Rama, isn't it? And when he was in Sri Lanka, he burnt the entire city. They had actually put fire into his tail, right? So then he burns. Actually, when we saw in last chapter, yesterday, that there are 6 types of aggressors. One who burns the houses of the enemies. So that is, but he's not an aggressor. He's doing it for Lord Rama, because he's a religious thing. He's doing for the Lord. So in that, there's no sin involved. So when you do your duties for the Lord, for the thing, then not expecting the fruitive activities, results, then there's no sinful reactions. So, and any small thing you do for the Lord. So Krishna says, there is no loss or diminution. And a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. See, when you are in this material world, you would have got some material wealth, riches, houses and things. But once you die, all that goes, isn't it? You don't carry. When you go to take another body, you won't have any of this material wealth which you get. But whatever spiritual activity progressed in this, that gets cumulatively added. There is no loss. So that's what Krishna says here. There's no loss or diminution in this endeavor. So you just fight for the religious, for me. So there is no loss or diminution. It just goes on cumulative. That's the answer. Then for the tradition, he says, just be a role model. Because if you're as a role model, you be an example and tell others how to carry on. Because if they will conquer the Kauravas, then the kingdom will be ruled by Yudhishthira, and he will always be on the path of dharma. So you can support your brother, and you can guide all the children and the family traditions, and you can uphold it. So that is be a role model, he says. And whatever can be served by a small well can at once be served by the great reservoir of water. So he says, you just do your duty and not to worry about the things. Now comes to the indecision, because he was really confused. He was so confused, and he didn't know how to do, or how to go, whether to fight or not to fight. And he thinks that he had given justified his reasons. So now for the indecision, now he tells, Vyasanika buddhir ekha kuru nandana bahu sakam by e anantascha buddhayo vyavasthaino. What does it mean is, those who are on this path are resolute in purpose, and their aim is one. So, beloved child of the Kurus, the intelligence of those who are irresolute has many branches. That means you should be firm in your decision. That is just you do your duty. That is, you come for fighting. So just do the fighting and be firm in that. Be firm, determined in that. So here you may wonder, see, this is Arjuna, and Dronacharya. When they were young, Dronacharya had kept a test for all the boys, for all the students. That is, he has to shoot an arrow. There was a bird on the tree, and they were supposed to shoot at the eyes. So many of them, like Bhima, will come and he'll ask, what are you seeing? He'll say, I'm seeing the tree. They'll describe the thing. When Yudhishthira comes, he also says, I'm seeing the trees, greenery and all that. But only when Arjuna comes, he says, I'm only seeing the eye of the parrot, because that was his focus and determined. So you have to be such focused in your duty. And when you're doing that, then there's no question of being indecisive. So this is what Krishna is advising him, that to be resolute in your purpose. But now Arjuna has a doubt. How can we make out a person who is having such a person who has got firm determination? How I can recognize him, or what are the symptoms? So in Bhagavad Gita, what is nice about it is not a dialogue from one way. Like, Arjuna asked, Krishna is giving all the answers and Arjuna is keeping quiet. No. Whenever he's not or is confused or he wants more clarity, he keeps asking questions. So it's like a two ways, between Arjuna and Krishna. So when he asked, then Bhagavan Uvacha, Prajati Yada Kamam Sarvam Pata Manogatan Atmani Evatmana Tustaha Stita Prajnas Tadovachati. So Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O Pata, when a man gives up all varieties of desire, sense desire, which arise from mental concussion, and when his mind finds satisfaction in the self alone, then he is said to be in pure transcendental consciousness. So it tells us to give up all varieties of desire. So, and then they have to be, so here we see the example of Prahlad. See, he was very much fixed in the remembrance of this Lord Vishnu, right? Narayana. So whatever the troubles which his father gave him, like, he had sent people to pierce him with sword or spears, or even with the snakes. I think nothing disturbed him because he was firm in his remembrance of his devotion with his Narayan. Okay, so, and even when he was put in fire, nothing happened to him because he was all the time in remembrance of Smarane of Lord Narayan. So that was his such determination, such firm determination he was in the devotional service to his Lord. And another example we can give is our Prabhupada, how he was so determined to follow his spiritual master's order. Master had told him, you go and preach Chaitanya, preachings of Chaitanya to the Western world, to the English-speaking people. And if you get money, also print books. So these are the two things, and which was kept him going. He went on, even gave up his family and became a sannyas, and all the time thinking how I can fulfill the orders of my master. And in between, he spent his days, okay, let me finish, translate, because if he has to go and preach in English, you need to have the books in English, isn't it? So he Srimad Bhagavatam, he translated, and they somehow struggled to get one volume, to get it printed. And that in Delhi, and used to go up and down from Vrindavan to Delhi and get it printed. And once he got it printed, then with great difficulty, he could get a visa to go to US, and that's how this is continued. So that was his determination. He was always thinking about his order. So that is one. So, and also, and they should have no sense desire. I mean, for the sense desires. Here, Krishna comes. How? So the question arises, suppose some small contemplation we'll think how it can turn into a lust, anger or thing. Like, what the question here is, like, suppose you say, oh, it's only one day, let me try smoking, just a one puff, let me try and see how it feels and all that. And you might start with that, but might end up becoming a chain smoker, isn't it? How it comes. So how this happens, this is explained by Krishna further. He is elaborating how a person can fall from the being of in determination. So it's like here, what we see in this picture is a boy is seeing a girl, right? It starts off with the boy seeing the girl or the girl seeing the boy, and then slowly they want to think, well, let me talk to him or let me talk to her, and think. Then they start and they want to have a relationship further, and that relationship, but slowly then starts, and they actually wanted to have a relationship, and then further it goes, it might end up with fighting and having nothing because their desires may not have been fulfilled, and then finally it goes into sin. So how does this happens? That's what is being explained here in this verse by Krishna. Dhyayato vinayam pushno saigas tenu pajayate saigas kamat krodha abhijat. While contemplating the objects of the senses, if person develops attachment, starts having some attachment, and from such attachment, lust develops, because you become very possessive and you're so attached to that desire, And once when it's not fulfilled, you the lust will convert to anger. So anger arises. And then from anger, complete delusion will arise. And from delusion, bewilderment of memory. And from when memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost. And when intelligence is lost, one falls down again. That is Krodhat Bhavati Sammoha. Sammoha Smriti. Smriti is memory. Vibramaha. Smriti Brahmsat Buddhi Nasha. So there your intelligence is lost and Buddhi Nasha Pranashat. So you fall down again. So this is how what happens when you focus on your objects, desires. No, if you focus on the first, you might only look at the object. You might not desire it, but slowly you get attached to that object. And then what happens once you're getting attached, you become more possessive, and then you start have a fear of losing it starts, and that will result in anger. And then once you get angry, then you slowly, when you're in anger mode, no, then you cannot think properly. So you'll be delusion, and then there will be a bewildered memory, and you can lose your intelligence and finally fall down. So all that started with object, sense object. You were starting to contemplate it. So the person who does not, who is very firm in the thing and their thing and not falling into such, then they can become self-realized and they will be in transcendental consciousness. So this is how he gives the answers to all the queries for Arjuna, right? So, and this what we see is the Lord Krishna was a best teacher, because he was silent in the whole chapter. When so many verses, the Arjuna will be talking, but Krishna is just listening to the whole thing. And only when Arjuna is ready, to answer, then he says, surrenders, and says, please tell me what is my duty and what is best for me. That's when he starts giving him the knowledge. And throughout, he's very smiling. He's not at all angry. He says, why, Arjuna, you have come now when asking all this? Couldn't you have asked me before? No, he doesn't. And then he's not bending, he's not scolding him or anything. And also, he answers all the questions very short in one thing. He doesn't delay it, everything he answers, but it's short. And he keeps answering. And finally, he'll tell Arjuna, you do as you like. And that's what we see in the end of the Bhagavad Gita. Do as you like, in no forcing. So he's like a best teacher for us, You can see the qualities of Lord Krishna in this. So what did we see? Okay. Why Arjuna didn't want to fight. So he says, that was a compassion. So he told him that we are not the body, we are the soul. You are not killing the soul at all. It is only going to change from one body to the other. And the body cannot be, the soul cannot be destroyed. Nor then you cannot cut it by any weapon or any fire or anything. So it is, we are eternal, and it's bliss, and it's the Atma Tattva he gives to Arjuna. So you can think. And he says, you are a Kshatriya, so do your duty and fight. And if you win, you get to heaven. If you lose your life, you will go to heaven. But if you win, you will conquer, then you will be enjoying the earthly kingdom here. So this is a win-win situation. So for fear of sinful activities, he says you are doing it for the religion cause. It's a devotional activity. Then there's no bondage. So, and any activity when you do for devotional service, there's no loss or diminution. So you carry out as a devotional work. And for family tradition, he says you become a role model so that you can prevent unwanted population. And indecision, he says you serve the Lord with firm determination, without any getting into this desires and all that, and getting caught into that contemplation which we talked about. Then you be firm in that. So he says the sthira buddhi. So what did we learn here? What is the reflection? So who are we? We are the soul and not the body. So that's the thing. First and foremost, we have come here in this world. So our body, whatever thing, it is not permanent. We think we are having a permanent house here, but actually we keep changing our body from transforming depending on this. So And then Arjuna surrenders. See, when he are in doubt, when he can't take any decision or thing, then he takes a time out, even if it is in the battlefield, middle of it. He does take out the time. He just stops everything and asks Krishna what to do, what am I to do? Please tell me. So you have to take time out at any crossroads in the life when we should stop and try to get some answers. So here we saw how Krishna is a spiritual master, and we saw how the characteristics, no, he was very silent and he listened everything, and he was always smiling. He encouraged Krishna, Arjuna throughout, and he gives the answers. But one thing we should remember, that we need training in spirituality. It's not, we have never been told about this soul and the body is never taught in our education today. Today, a material education, which we take, no, we are studying and all that. There, no one has talked about this body and the soul. So we need training, just like we need training in any other field. Even in spirituality, you need training. And who are the ones who can train us? Is the life guru, Paramatma, Chaitanya Guru, and the devotees, Siksha Gurus. These are the ones which you can. Okay. So this is what we can reflect upon all this, take up from this chapter. So Hare Krishna. So with this, I'll end. I'd like to take some questions from you all. Vancha kalpaturu apyascha kripa sindhu evacha patitam nam pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Chant. So I will stop sharing and also